Well, it says we're streaming horribly. Hopefully that's not the case. 3, 2, 1. Ding dong. What's up, print fam? How y'all doing? I had the opportunity to say what's up to a lot of you in the chat. To everyone that got here early, you're the best. To everyone that's not here early, you know how I feel about you. You already know. Let's go ahead and roll this intro. We'll get started. Ah, son of a bitch. Here we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, Monument Limited presents The Print Live. Live. We in? Come on. There we go. What's going on, Print fam? It's your boy Cam. Welcome to the Print Life Live Video Podcast. Before we get started, make sure that this is, if this is your first time on the YouTube channel, that you've hit the subscribe button. After you've hit the subscribe button, ding the bell so that you're notified when I upload future videos. With that in mind, Jesse's bugging me. What's up, bud? That looks pretty good, actually. But no. I'm live right now, so you're going to have to, I don't know, clean screens or something, dude. Sorry, guys. That's the way this shit goes. Yeah, so if you're new to the YouTube channel or if you're a person that's been watching for a long time, please take the time to watch every single video in the playlist and watch it from beginning to end. Don't push it 2 minutes in and then stop watching and go. Push play and watch them to the end. The watch time is what we need to keep this channel growing. And if it's not growing, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So watch the videos, guys. Like, comment, share them. Let's get this thing growing. Also, you can listen to this thing in audio format on iTunes, Google Play, the whole shebang. Leave me a 5-star review, and let's get that thing growing as well. Now, today's guest, I got to take a breath here. There we go. Today's guest, I actually haven't told him this, but when I first got started in the print industry, well, not really got started, but I was starting the shop up. I had just signed on to Instagram, and I was just browsing through all the Instagram things, and this is probably 6-7 years ago. Could be shorter, could be longer, but I was browsing through it, and I found this gentleman's shop, and this was when I think he was running one Vastex, possibly. I think he may have had two in the shop, but there was this style within the shop that I saw, and I went, I'm going to steal that. So I've been following his kind of progress for a little while, and then I reached out to him the other day to see if he would be willing to come on and just talk screen printing. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Juan Carlos. He's the owner of Squeegee Prints in, is it Southern California? Where you at? What's up, by the way, dude?
What's up, Cam? Super stoked to be on the show, man. I'm super stoked you asked me. We're out down here in Southern California in Chula Vista, super close to San Diego, basically.
Right on, man. When you first, or I don't know how long you've been on Instagram, but did you, like, were you just starting the shop around like 7 years ago, or is it quite a bit older than that?
I started the shop when I was about 19 years old. I was kind of youngster. When I got out of high school, I got into college, and I dropped out right away. My family disowned me, and they kicked me out. You know, I went to go work at a restaurant, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. You know how a lot of young people feel.
Yeah.
And I was taking up a lot of weird projects at the time, but I was helping out a friend. He was screen printing. And I thought, you know, to myself, this is a really cool process. I love this. It's, you know, so creative and cool, and I love the outcome, you know. And soon after that, about a week after that, I found out that my local skate shop they needed a new printer. They wanted to print some new stuff, and they needed a new printer. So I told them, you know what, I think I could do that for you. So I sprung onto the opportunity. I did all I could, and I kind of failed, basically. You know, I tried to make them stuff, and it sucked really bad. And you know how it goes, the print life.
Oh, yeah, yep. Man. All the early failures, right? Oh, they're brutal.
Yep.
That's the cost of entry.
that's the cost of entry, you know, like sometimes you don't know what you're getting into. You got to like take it on head on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like how long ago was that when you actually did officially start?
It's going to be 10 years this December. So,
okay. That
yep.
seems about right, because you could tell. I remember looking at your Instagram. I was like, oh, this motherfucker's been doing it for a little while. Dude, I've got to stop cussing. I'm gonna keep this. I noticed that it seemed like you already had quite a bit of, like, you know how you can call it like a patina on your walls. Like there was already stuff up. So, and that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. So you've been cranking at it for a while, huh?
I've been cranking at it for a while, but you know, like, yeah, I just always love that style of putting a bunch of stuff up and putting my work up and, you know, showing pride in the work and showing people that I'm passionate about my craft. You know, like me, like you, I'm stoked to be influencing, and, you know, I've been influenced by others as well. So I'm stoked to, you know, carry that torch on and hand it down to people like you, man, doing, you know, interviews like this and showing, you know, future printers what's up. And that's not something people take on in this industry, for sure.
That's true. It kind of seems to be very, well, before recent years, it was tight-lipped, right? Everybody was always very tight-lipped about how to do this thing. It's opening up.
Yep, that's right, man. That's good, man. It's the era of knowledge. You know, we got the internet. It's, you know, got lots of, you know, information that we can all use, and every new entrepreneur in screen printing should be using it, for sure.
That's what's up. Yeah, dude, your shop reminds me of, like, if if the Z-Boy, like if the Dogtown Z-Boys had a print shop, it's what yours looks like that. Like that would have been their print shop to me, you know?
Right on, dude. That's cool. Thank you so much, brother.
You're welcome. So, what, as far as like a screen printer goes, what would you say your specialty is? Not so much as a printer though, but actually as a business person in the print industry. What's your business skill?
I feel like one of my good business skills for me is knowing whether the deal is good or whether it's bad, whether it's going to work out for me and for my client, or whether it's, you know, just not going to work out at all. And that can mean, you know, whether, you know, the job is going to take too long and they don't want to pay that much, you know, it's not going to be feasible for me to take that job on, or whether, you know, I can take the job on, it's going to be easy, it'll be fluent, and we can get out the door, no problem. It's good for my client and for me.
Yeah, you know, I've often wondered this, because I admittedly I don't even really do price comparing anymore. I did it in the early days, but I'm kind of interested, because when you're in the California area, yeah, if you can tilt the camera up or something, you're kind of when you're in the that's cool. When you're in the California area, it seems like you would have to have such high prices. Like, it seems like the cost of everything would be much higher over there. Is that the case a lot of the times?
That is sometimes the case over here. There is a lot of high costs, but it's tough, to be honest, because it's really competitive. There's a lot of other screen printers just down the way, just up the street, you know what I mean? And they're all cutting prices, and we're also really close. We're also really close to the border, so, you know, a lot of people, you know, just like fuck it, I'm just gonna go. Oh, sorry, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, cool. They go down there, and, you know, but
yeah, they just farming it out. That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people farming out right now, man.
Yeah, like I remember calling around, or looking around, not calling around, in the early days to places like Texas, or like mid Texas, or and the prices were like, dude, what are they even doing over there? But then you look at it, like, they can rent 4,000 square feet for like $900 a month and all this and that. But it's hard, as the world is kind of becoming national, right? And people are offering services on a national level. It's tough I'm trying to figure that whole game out, man. I guess it comes down to personal service.
It's all about the personal service, man. That's what I at least believe. Because like we're talking about, there's so many competitors throughout the whole nation. It's how are you going to compete with everyone? It's really being able to identify a good deal and knowing, hey, you know, this customer needs this deal by certain time. I can do that. You know, there's no one else that'll do it. You know, I have that leverage, and learning how to use that leverage in the deal.
That's the trick. Yeah, man. I mean, to me, it sounds like that is your skill. Did you realize that kind of thing early on, like how important it was to treat the clients well? Or when you first started, did you kind of do what all of us do and just try to beat the guy on price down the street?
I wasn't trying to cut my prices really low at all. If I had any deals, it was just for single color prints, or, you know, if I had a deal, it was just for maybe one thing. And if that maybe brought them in, I would use that as bait to maybe try to seal the deal for whatever else they wanted. But I wouldn't try to cut deals.
I ripped that off from your website back that time ago, because you guys were doing like package deals, I think, at the time. I think you guys were the ones that I saw doing that. Smart.
Right on, man. Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to think of little things that businesses are gonna want, and that they're looking for, and that are also easy for us to make, produce, get out, and, you know, everyone's happy.
I love it, man. So how did you, because you said a second ago, I'm kind of going to be all over the place here, but that you were doing screen printing for somebody else, right, in the beginning, or you were working somewhere else. Is that where you learned the craft of it, or did you learn it all when you started the shop up for yourself? I think I might have misunderstood.
So at first, it was all DIY. I was doing it all myself. There was very limited information on YouTube at the time. So I was trying to learn as much as I could. I tried to even go take a class one time, but during that time there were budget cuts, and there's just no way I could learn. So I kind of reached this weird learning curve. So I decided to go take a job and work at this factory, this big old factory where they printed a bunch of stuff. And they printed a bunch of stuff for really, big name clients. Like, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name drop over here, but
yeah. Big contracts.
Big contracts. And they had they were doing water base and discharge and all over printing at the time when it was cool. Not cool.
Yeah. Not cool no more, dude.
Yeah, not as cool anymore, dude. But that's good for us.
Yeah. It'll resurge, man. It seems like it goes in these waves, right? The print styles, they go in like circles almost, but it's gonna come back around. I'm certain of it. Dude, yeah, I heard somewhere that Ed Hardy, like some of the kids, like the hype beast kids, are actually snatching up. Do you remember Ed Hardy? They're snatching up vintage Ed Hardy, bro, and they're wearing that shit like the hype beasts are.
Yeah, I believe it. I 100% believe it. There's a lot of weird stuff going on over here. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of us over here in Cali and a lot of people in New York definitely see a lot of those crazy trends for sure.
Yeah, man, I agree. So you went to the shop, and that was where you started working at that big shop, and that's kind of where you figured this whole thing out to some degree?
Correct. I went to go work at that factory, and it pretty much taught me everything, what to do, what not to do, what to invest in, what good production looked like, what bad production looked like. Even other things like bottlenecks in the business and stuff like that. Those were important things for me to see as well.
What are some bottlenecks that you have found? Do you interact with any other printers really these days, or are you guys kind of isolated? And I guess the question is, have you seen other shops and maybe some obvious bottlenecks that you're like, dude, why do you guys do it that way? Or is there any examples you can think of with something like that?
There's different bottlenecks throughout the whole shop. Every aspect of the shop can upgrade in anyone's, scenario.
Yeah.
At all times, and it should always be upgrading. We should always be looking to improve our systems in the shop. But there's definitely some in the artwork department. There's always some in the screen department. even in production. It just all depends on the scenario.
Hang on real quick, dude. It looks like they're saying the feed is choppy as heck. I don't know. Are you guys, I'm going to ask the chat real quick. Is my video choppy, or is it just his Skype call? Tell me, can you guys see me moving clearly? Because it does look like his feed is choppy. If that's the case, oh my good lord. Hey guys, hang tight. I'll be right back. I'm going to go turn some stuff off. Hang on. I'll be right back, dude. Crap, man, I don't know what's going on here. Our feeds are junk. Sorry, guys. So it's mine too. It's mainly just yours. Do you have like your cell? Can you like turn your cell phone and stuff off? Maybe free up some bandwidth on your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool. Yeah, but it does say my stuff is not going well here either. Let me hang in there, guys. We'll chop this part out on the actual thing, or once it's available for replay. Yeah, mine's saying it too, bro. For some strange reason, we're kind of having a choppy feed right now.
All right, I'll go ahead and see if mine is doing that too.
All right, cool. Let's see. Yeah, guys, hang in there. We'll chop this part out. So how's everybody doing, man? Jason, this is his name is Juan Carlos. He has a shop in Southern California called Squeegee Prints. And I've been following his Instagram for a while, and I just reached out to him to see if he'd come on and talk screen printing. So he's here. Hopefully this stream will clean up. Hang on one more sec, guys. I'm going to try one more thing. Dude, it's fun. I should start pre-recording these things and just upload them. The only reason I do it this way is because it's fun to have like the interactive chat, you know, while we're doing it. But from a technical standpoint, it's just at work. All right, guys, I got you. I got this. There we go. I was on the wrong thing. My fault. Completely my fault. All right, let's pick it back up where we left off here. Oh, did I lose you? Oh shit, I lost you. Okay, there he goes.
Got me. Cool.
Yeah, I got you. Let me reconnect this thing. Cool on the outside, but on the inside, I'm boiling. I'm pissed as shit. All right, back to the thing. So, where did we leave off? We were talking kind of just about how you educated yourself and how you learned this and that, and then we went into the bottleneck thing. Like I know for us at this particular shop, it always seems to come down to the screen process for us. And clients. I think client like artwork and management was an old problem, and then the screen room. Is there anything that you've done that kind of helps you with getting your screen room lined out? Do you guys do a dehumidifier and all that shit? All that crap?
I don't do a dehumidifier. It's pretty hot over here in Cali. It's but I just use fans. I recently built this like DIY tower fan. It's super killer. I'll show it to you in a bit. Where
you're blowing the air down on the screens and whatnot with a fan kind of thing?
Oh yeah, yep. Where I just put them on a rack and then I just roll the fan in front of it, and in just a couple minutes it gets ready. Yeah, dude, it's super killer, super cool.
Dude, I gotta make one. I was like envisioning mounting like like the flat fans, mounting them on the back of our screen racks and then like enclosing it. That seemed like that would work like a charm, bro. I need to do one. I'm gonna make a video on it. I'm gonna make a video on me fumbling my way through it, dude.
Right on.
So, I think that a lot of people in this industry, they understand like that there's gonna be a learning curve with getting into printing, and they all know that it's going to take a lifetime to really get good at it. But the question that I just seem to get from everybody who's considering getting into it, and that's really where I like to focus in these things, is just like getting the dang clients. When you first started, what was the first kind of thing that you did to start getting them fools in the door?
That's the hard one. That's a good question. But The number one thing you got to do is you got to market yourself. You got to document, the stuff that you make. You got to showcase it, make sure it looks good, make sure it does justice to the project. And that'll show people that you genuinely care about your work and what you're doing. It'll also help you build a portfolio. So when you want to start updating your website and start putting things together, you have some content to put together and show, hey, look, check it out. This is what I'm all about.
Bro, I remember the first, and it was actually not so much the aesthetic that I was really copying, but you guys were one of the first shops that I saw doing it in such a way where you were keeping the shirt on the pallet. And this was early day stuff, probably and you would take a photo of the print on the pallet, but you would frame it up, right, where it just looked very cool. It was a really neat way to present it. And I saw people start doing it after that, but you were the first shop that I saw presenting it in that way. And sometimes you'd have the screen kind of in frame, and sometimes it would just be perfectly squared up. Was that intentional? Were you always trying to find that aesthetic?
During those times, that was when I was like doing it all myself, and I was really stoked when I would, get to that point when you get the print process, you print the first one, you check it out. I'd be really stoked. So I started documenting, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give the people like my POV, my point of view, which is, my shoes and everything in there.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was different aesthetic, different. It's good to add character to this, the stuff we create.
Yeah, it felt like that's what you were doing, and I think that's why I remember mimicking a lot of that aesthetic, because you did it. You could feel it didn't feel like a cold factory.
Yeah, man.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's the game, bro. And I think you've done a great job with that. And I think that everybody listening now should definitely subscribe to your Instagram feed, and specifically with the older stuff, because when you're a smaller shop, the way you presented it was a way that I think a lot of people should possibly mimic, because it did your shop justice. Now, when you were creating that content, though, did you when you were trying to get clients, did you door-to-door knock? Was the website your main source of client acquisition? Was it, your personal network? What way kind of seemed to get you the most work?
When it was early on and I was doing all this stuff myself, I didn't focus on anything too much that would cost me a lot of money. I just did stuff that was feasible. So, of course, I did all the free outlets, which was social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever else. I don't know if there is, but Twitter, I guess. Yeah, Twitter. I don't do that one, but
it's the worst.
How it goes. So, so use all those outlets to market yourself, and then also. Don't be scared to, if you're ever at a coffee shop or something, to approach, if it's the right person, approach the right person, say, hey, I love your stuff, show support, and ask them if they're ever in a pickle and their printer can't, do their stuff, or if they ever need a printer, offer your services. It's something that everyone should do. Don't be scared of it. It's part of being an entrepreneur, part of being a salesman. Is being to go out there, network, and be able to build a relationship with a customer that is, based on good quality, fast turnaround, cheap prices, whatever it may be.
And you would, so you would literally, if you were out hanging out at some pub or whatever, you were looking for the opportunities to pitch what you did.
Yeah, of course.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Bro, I was so happy that I did, because I just utilized pretty much primarily the internet, and because I was in sales for a very, very, very long time, and I was so ecstatic to not have to do that thanks to the internet. But in your opinion, do you think that that's still the best method for getting good clients?
It is not necessarily the best method. It could, you'll start discovering once you start doing it that you could be talking to the wrong person, someone that just works there, someone that has nothing to do with the business or that part of the marketing. So you have to know when the situation is right, identifying the right situation, if it's worth your time and all that, you know. But definitely internet marketing is where it's at right now. If you want the masses to see it, do internet marketing, definitely.
Yeah, like for me, to me, if I'm gonna pitch somebody I know, or like that maybe I'm interested in working with them at some point, I don't business card them or anything like that, but I've always tried to get them to follow either Instagram or my YouTube channel, because I feel like that's the best way to cultivate them into what you're doing, and it almost like it qualifies them as either they want to work with you or they absolutely do not in any way, shape, or form want to work with you. Do you do that, or are you the old school business card kind of dude where you'll hand them out?
I will hand out my business card a lot, but I do mention following me, you know, on the Instagram and all that. And for the most part, a lot of the time, you know, we don't make the sale right away. A lot of times, you know, I'm a young guy, so I would go up to people and I would tell them this stuff, and they'd just look at me like a kid and say, you know, what's this guy going to do? And then sometimes they would even humor themselves and look at my portfolio, and then they'd be like, oh, dang, you know what? Let's call him. You know,
that's right.
You know, so you just got to go out there and, you know, give them the card and tell them about yourself. Always market yourself.
What do you think about that? Like, because you mentioned it a little bit earlier about how in the beginning you were just so focused on doing a good job and then trying to document the jobs that you did best, and you were ultimately putting your best foot forward, huh?
Correct. Yeah, you know, it's always good to show people that, you know, it's like you were saying, it's not just a cold shop, you know. There's some character in here. There's individuality. There's, you know, people that are artists, musicians, you know. We're not just factory workers or anything like that, you know.
Do you find that being that kind of shop, I'm asking this for myself too, is that it perhaps could potentially limit you from a certain type of clientele, and it'll bring in a different type of clientele?
Yeah, it's hard. It kind of does bring in a certain type of clientele that it is really hard to work with. But like I said, you gotta be able to identify those good deals, and knowing whether the deal is good for you, and whether it's marketing or you know, you're gonna get paid and you're gonna eat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so
you're not afraid of saying, no, I can't. This isn't something we want to do. You're not going to take on a job that would be a problem either from a price standpoint or even from a production standpoint.
Correct. And you really have to be able to identify those projects that are, you know, not realistic. You're not going to be able to do, or it's not going to come out like the customer wanted. Because if you can't identify that, you're going to, you know, make the customer unhappy. You're going to have to refund their money. You're going to waste your time ultimately.
Yeah, it's true, man. I completely agree with you. What is your take on like having just a good old fashioned, like a website? Now it's funny to say good old fashioned website, because a few years ago that was the shit. But what's your opinion on a website?
I think you got to have it. I think every new printer has to have a website. And you gotta, I know it's not feasible for a lot of printers, because a lot of them look at, you know, oh, I gotta pay this and I gotta pay that, and, you know, it's definitely expensive. So I would recommend you just do it yourself. You got a lot of time on your hands. You're a new printer. You're not going to be slaving printing all this t-shirts, because you're a new business. So you better get on the website, start working on it. I've been working on mine for years, and it's still evolving. I'm still working on it all the time. So it's a never-ending battle. It's part of the print life. So
that's right, dude. I completely agree with you, man. I couldn't have said it better myself, and I know because I've tried. It's very important. What boggles my mind is how many. I mean, they're like WordPress or even Squarespace. They're like $39 a month, but I think back to when I first started, and I was actually the website was cool, but anything else that was $39 a month, I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. What do you think that is? It's almost like we focus on the wrong things when it comes to costs starting up. Like a thing that's going to help you get more clients is worth whatever you need it, whatever it costs, really.
Correct. A lot of times we don't want to spend those, those extra dollars on a website because, it's not going to generate that much business or this or that. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's really the case, go get a free one. If you got to start there, get a free one. There's a lot of free websites. They'll give you a somewhat of your own domain, but they'll add their little website in there as well. So if you want to upgrade,
Wix.
Yeah, correct. And then when you establish yourself and you're realizing you're getting more clientele and that it's worth it, and you don't want to advertise Wix in the middle of your business name, mm-hmm. you can purchase it. And but it's definitely something that you're going to need as a business owner. You're going to need that fluctuation of business. Customers are going to need to find you, get in contact with you, reach out to you. And it's important to set up your website well so you can streamline the business the way you want it. You don't want people, ordering in weird ways, over the phone or this or that. You want them to fill out a simple form and respond to them with a quote and an invoice, et cetera, et cetera. That's honestly the best way to do it. A lot of these people are claiming that, Inksoft and all this other stuff. I actually have Inksoft. It's really, it's it actually sucks. It's not. Sorry, Inksoft, but
I know people aren't into the design, but you think they would be, but they just don't use the design lab. They just don't.
The only time it is ever good, it's when, at least if you're a screen printer, the only time it's ever good is if they don't have any artwork at all. If they have zero artwork, then it's like, hey, you know what? I can't waste my time helping you because you have zero artwork, but you could use our website, get some stuff going. That is the only time.
And to give them a little bump too, because I've trashed them in the past, and I was like, "Fuck, why did I do that?" But their clip art library is extensive, especially at this point. Like the monthly fee for them, just having the clip art is like, there's value just in that, just access to that.
There is some value. I don't want to talk a bunch of crap here, but I just for me and my business, if I had a DTG machine, maybe it might be the best thing for me. But death to digital. I think so. I'm 100% screen printing, man.
Yeah, I think so. I think it has its place in the digital realm. I think that's where it really would shine supreme.
Correct.
In my opinion. I don't know.
Sure.
But did you, when you started, when you start going for it and you're trying to find different avenues to get clients, what do you feel has given you the most return on your efforts? If you're like, we're talking in person, website, social media, of those three.
I gotta say social media, man. Social media out of all of them has given me the best fruit. Interesting.
Okay. I know that now we're getting into like the tricks of the trade, but is there a method or a process that you will utilize to bring people on from social media? Like, do you find that direct messaging is the way? Do you leave a comment on their thing that you could print that?
You know what? I've done that type of stuff in the past and seen the results, and sometimes it's not really the best results because the people running all the social media aren't the ones that you want to talk to. And I feel like if you just focus on marketing yourself really well, put out the content that you truly believe is a good reflection of you and what you want to show everyone, that will play out in time. History will be the merit. People will catch on and start seeing, hey, you know what? these people do good work and we want to work with them.
Yeah. That's so in your mind, it's actually kind of the long game. Just let history speak for itself. I like that. That's good, man.
Yeah, history will
Nice
always
tip.
be the merit.
All right, dude. That's good. I love that. So I think we've covered kind of getting clients, but what about hanging on to them? You know, because that's really where I think that's where the money is, right? You get them in, but you're gonna really do well when you can identify those really good clients and keep them coming back. Do you have any advice that you could give us as to how to best keep them around?
The best way to keep them around is to keep them delighted, keep them super happy. You gotta just go above and beyond. Recommend, better inks, maybe a better type of print that might result better for their project. Have a lot of contact with them and make sure that they're getting what they want, and keep them happy. Ultimately,
Yeah.
you keep them happy, they will just use you forever. For those good clients, they recognize good people to work with, and there's always business there.
Yeah, man, I agree. I found in the early days of getting clients, though, what ended up happening to me, and again, I used the website and I used Google to like the maximum extent that an individual could. And what happened to me was that I started getting so much work, and I feel like looking back, like I focused on just the new clients, and I didn't put any. I felt so much like I needed more, and I didn't put enough effort into the existing ones that were probably a pleasure to work with. Have you ever made any mistakes like that?
Of course. Throughout business, we make these mistakes and these realizations. Hopefully, we make these realizations when we have these mistakes. And we got to realize, hey, some businesses are really the best fit for you. Whether that means they're low maintenance and they pay well and they don't have a fast turnaround or whatever it is. If they're a good fit for your business and they're not making you lose any sleep or any money, then you should keep them. You should definitely try to keep them happy. If there are a lot of cases where there's some businesses that aren't really the best fit for your company, and they're going to cost you some money, and you won't realize until the end of the year or whenever you're doing your numbers, and you're like, hey, you know what, this really isn't the best deal for us.
Yeah. I've said this before. Have you had this experience where, dude, actually some of my best clients, though, and it's interesting, they became some of the easiest to work with, but I acquired them by doing some kind of job where they were in a bind or a pinch. And like I look back on it, and I look on it now, and I think sometimes I've even passed those clients off because it was something in a pinch, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now. Go somewhere else. But a lot of the times, like you're almost fishing for those clients, right? And sometimes you have to go through the crappy jobs to get the good jobs, though.
Yep. It's good you have to realize if that client that is in a pinch, if their budget, is really good and it's going to work out for you, and if it's something that you can ultimately do. If it's something you cannot do, don't shoot yourself in the foot, just pass it on. But that's how you got to do it.
That's good advice, man. Yeah, I know a lot of printers I've gotten myself into that, and I know you're speaking from experience of just, you feel like you want to expand, like maybe you want to try to pull off simulated or CMYK or some kind of crazy shit, and it ends up putting your entire production schedule in a shit show.
Exactly. And maybe you already have a great production schedule that's making you a bunch of money. Why are you going to take on some crazy CMYK job that's going to run everything down the drain?
Yeah, dude, you're right. It's true, man. It's true. Damn it, I was going to go off somewhere else with that, but I lost it. I'll come back to it if I remember. I feel like you kind of answered this, but I'm gonna have you reiterate. What are some important things a shop needs to do? Like you said, you got people down the street, you got people here to differentiate yourself, to make sure that you're standing out.
Um, you got to build character. Sounds really cheesy, but like I was saying before, you got to show off your work. You got to present it. Make sure it looks cool. Be proud of it. And get involved with the community, definitely. You got to get involved with the community. Be a part of it, participate in everything they do and offer your services to them.
Interesting. Yeah, bro, I don't do that. I'm a goddamn loner, bro. But I think you're right. I do think you're right. I know, like, did you get to listen to the podcast with Jason LeBlue? He was the only other person that really mentioned that community thing, and he said that, like, he basically built his business off of that community kind of model. Like, he didn't need any outside info. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it's not. I haven't done that.
Yeah, man. It's I definitely think a lot of that is based on location. You got to be in the right location for that to work as well. Sometimes community is really strong in a smaller type of town, and then but maybe if you're in a major city, it's harder to find some of that community or unity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. What am I fucking doing here? Nope, did that shit. Dude, I asked, like, it's funny, I'm reading my list here. and I must have duplicated this thing because I have the same questions like twice in a row. I'm like, what are we doing? When you get started in this kind of thing, I know that you can't be a good business person. It's just not possible, even if you had training at it. But as you're going through it, what have you found really differentiates and makes a good business person? What are the most important skills or focuses you should have?
Some of the most important skills and focuses you have is figuring out what makes you the most money and how you can do that the fastest and most streamlined possible. Definitely.
That's it, man.
It's definitely it. I've tried to break it down in different ways. I was like, do more business, do this, do that, but really, if you're not identifying what deals are really good for your business, you might be making bad deals a lot, and ultimately that'll drive your business down to the ground, You see it a lot with these big contract printing companies that they grow and they grow and they grow and they grow, and they all of a sudden they have huge contract printing deals only with Target and Walmart, and they're printing everything for cents. Then all of a sudden Walmart or Target leaves and they go to somewhere else because they're a couple cents cheaper, and then these big giant businesses, they go out like a light bulb.
It's all over. Yeah, it's all over. I think what you're saying is I learned it late, bro. Slow learner, I guess. But man, I would have so much stuff coming in, and only recently, maybe in the past 2 years, did I realize that if you're getting the right clients in and you're cultivating the right set of clients, you actually work less and make more and you work less, which is a crazy. That's nuts.
It's super crazy and super nuts, but it's how it goes, and it's like I'm learning it more and more too. So nowadays, we're just trying to cultivate really good clients that are a good fit for us, that want those bigger quantities because we've automated now, and
And that's kind of where I wanted to go. I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of people that watch this channel, they're even myself. Like, I've been chewing on the notion there's certain things I want to have in place first, but when the time comes to automate, man, like. Actually, I kind of want to talk about the whole process because it's fairly fresh for you, right?
Super fresh, man. It's about I've had this thing for about a month.
Oh shit!
2 months.
So what? When you decided, okay, how and when? Because you were running for a long time without one. It was a very new thing, but you were able to stay afloat. How come now was the time?
Now was the time because I had a lot of business and I was already behind. I couldn't keep up with any of the new business, basically. I kind of reached a cap.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say I reached this cap is like a year ago, I had my best year, but I also rejected a bunch of business because I just couldn't physically take any more. When I realized that, I said, you know what, it's time for me to automate, because it's either I'm going to buy another press and hire another guy, or I'm going to automate and streamline the whole business a little bit better.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think about if you know, because I see, dude, and I know that there's two sides to this, because some people say once you automate, you never go back. And maybe your opinion will change in the future. But do you believe that you should maximize your client fulfillment capabilities manually before even considering making that jump? Or if you were to do it again now, would you just jump right into the automatic and
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. And like, definitely one I know a lot of people want to hear. If it was up to me, I would have got my automatic a year ago, maybe, and would have taken on all the business I could have last year and even more potentially. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to have that foresight as a business owner, or as somebody, you know, running a business. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to just have that full stack and be assured that, hey, you know what, I have lots of clients that need stuff every day. I've built a reputation for myself. It's time to automate when you can't handle any more of the business, when you have to say no, you know, a couple times of the month, and, you know, it's time to automate.
So you'll let it really, you're going to let, you let the clients dictate when it's time. You don't just jump right into it. So you wouldn't, if you could go back 10 years now, you still probably, if you were going to start over, would you start with a manual, or would you go right into an automatic?
You know, of course, everyone wants to be like, I want to jump right into the auto, but
yeah.
But it's good to learn the screen print process the whole way through and through, and it's good to know it physically. You know, you know what it's like to pull the squeegee. You know what it entails to have the project set up right, because everything in the screen room was right and everything in the pre-press was right. So you have to be able to know the whole business through and through, know when is basically a good time.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that's really good advice. Because there's just there seems to be this trend to push new shops into automation as quick as possible. Obviously, the people selling them want to sell as many of them as they can, but yeah, there's kind of this trend. Now, what brand did you end up going with?
I purchased a M&R Diamondback E.
Nice, dude. And why did you go M&R? Because you have I'm sure you did your research. Is there a particular reason why M&R was the way you went?
I particularly chose M&R because I've worked with M&R in the past, and they were really good machines. A lot of screen printers are very familiar with M&R as well. Not as many printers are familiar with Rock. And also, there's a lot of technicians for M&R as well. That was a huge factor. M&R has been the leading screen print manufacturer in the industry, and they definitely do have good customer service. Not they're not the nicest, but they stand behind their products, and that's the important stuff. You know. They're cool guys.
They're not the nicest, though.
Oh, yeah.
They'll slam you, huh? They'll slam you for being a dummy or something?
Yeah, they thought I was a dummy when I called and took this call, you know. But, no.
That's what's up. Yeah. What has the transition been like? And you can share as much or as little as you want to, but I think honesty is extremely important in this industry these days. What has your experience been like trying to transition from the manual mentality to the mentality of printing on an automatic? What are some things you've ran into?
At first, it's really difficult. You know, like I said, it's like It's like driving a car. You already know how to drive the car, but you got to learn how to drive stick, and it's like a whole new beast. Once you get through that challenge and you get comfortable through navigating through the software and realizing what it takes to move, do the simple movements and what you want the press to do, that's when it gets a lot easier.
So even learning see, that's interesting. I wouldn't expect that. So even learning the menu and just the function of the press requires a certain amount of testing. It's not as intuitive as you might think.
Correct. So like you might, and there's simple mistakes here and there. You just, you got to get into the habit of doing it every day, using it and realizing, I have to move this switch here and this switch here when I need to do this. And, if you forget, then, it's going to result in a misprint or who knows,
Right. Interesting. Yeah, man. It's those things that you don't think about, right? Because a lot of those things aren't as big of a deal on a manual press. You're not dealing with it. How are you addressing the whole, I know you guys don't really dabble in simulated too much, right? Or anything like that?
Not really, man. We haven't been doing too much crazy simulated process. We just work with a lot of really cool artists or, organizations or businesses. And
well, even if you're doing spot colors, because you can only put so many flashes on a press, how has the transition been to going like more wet on wet stuff? Is that kind of a point of pain right now for you guys?
No, just because I've been doing wet on wet forever, even like manual printing, it's you got to just know when it's okay to do that wet on wet style of printing. Not every job is gonna allow it. Some of them is gonna dull out other colors, or it's gonna affect the job. So you just need to make sure it can play out with your job. I did do a wet on wet kind of job the other day, and it came out just fine. So it's cool. It's like you got to just know how to work it.
I love it, man. Are you still finding? That's just me. What's up, Cam? There he is. Okay. Are you finding that you still run the manuals, or do you find that you can put even the smaller run stuff on the automatic? How do you balance that? You
can really do both. I realized you can really run everything on the auto. Sometimes, like this week, I ran into this moment where I was like, I don't really need to turn the auto on, and we did like the whole day's work with without the auto. We banged out a bunch of stuff. Honestly, doing a manual is still cool. Like in some instances, sometimes it's not worth it. Turn on the auto, and you just got a couple jobs, and you're gonna fly through it, and then you got no more work. So you gotta definitely know, hey, I got just a couple of jobs here. We'll just run it manual and, get all our money that way instead of, ending the work day early.
Yeah. Are you using any kind of? I'm not pitching my own shit, guys. I'm inquiring just because I want to know how other people do it. Are you using like Inksoft to manage like your flow? Do you use like folders and a whiteboard on a wall? What have you found has been the best way for you to manage as you start scaling and moving up?
As I start scaling and moving up, I think the best, of course, a big bottleneck in our industry is going to be communication. So I've been trying to really establish some kind of a system where, everyone through the shop communicate fluidly, and we all know what's going on with the projects. I'm really, to be honest, copying a lot of the stuff like Printavo does. I just copy their system, sort of. I look at it, analyze it, see what they do, implement that in my own way, but not using the cloud-based software that they offer. Not yet, at least. I might get into it. I don't know if it's going to be the best fit for me, but they seem like really cool guys, and they seem like cool people. I don't know.
Yeah, they got a good thing going over there, I think. I'll show you kind of what I have going on here once we're off the air. It's pretty cool, man.
Right on,
right on. Right for you. If you could do one little thing over again, as a business person or as a printer, whatever, both maybe, what would you have done differently? I know it's bad to look to the past, but is there anything that was just like, that was the wrong thing for me to do?
Huh. I think that for me would be I tried to get into other stuff that wasn't screen printing. That was a mistake for me. I tried to get into like vinyl and heat press at one point in time, and I realized it's not really for me. It's not really the quality that I want to offer. It's not something that I want to reflect on my business.
Interesting.
So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to stick to 100% screen printing. It wasn't a detrimental mistake or anything at all, but it was a good realization that I needed to have to say, you know what? I'm just going to focus on screen printing because that's what makes me happy. That's what everyone wants. And, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You're the first person I've ever heard say that. I kind of actually do have a similar mentality to that. Do you think, though, that again, for you, it sounds like it's as much about your lifestyle and just a smooth sailing kind of thing, right? But do you think that you're missing out on a very potentially profitable area of this industry by not offering like promo and vinyl? Or for you, does it just not matter? It's not worth it.
Don't matter.
You don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude. It's, you know what I mean? Like, if you ask In-N-Out, why don't they serve hot dogs? It's, you know, they're selling burgers like hotcakes. You know,
dude. Yeah, you're one of the few people I feel like is keeping that mentality. It seems like printers, maybe just newer printers, I don't know, but they feel like if a client asks for something, that if they can't offer it, the client's going to somehow be offended, so they feel the need to offer every single thing under the sun. I felt that way in the beginning too. I don't know more.
Yeah, that's right. That's a problem that we all face in the beginning. We don't want to say no. We don't want to say no. We're like, oh no, we got to offer it. Oh no, we got to outsource it, or we got to do all this stuff. It's going to end up being ultimately a headache, a waste of your time, even a waste of your money, possibly, you know? So you got to... Yeah.
I almost quit the business because I had this big wide format plotter, you know, they would do like, I don't know, however wide vinyl cut and shit. And it was laying around. I used it mainly for personal art projects and shit. Mm-hmm. But a client comes through and they want to do not a wrap, but you know, like a die cut thing on the side of a box truck. And I had never done it before. And it took me the better part of a week. All production everything fell behind. The clients fell behind because I was out there trying to do this vinyl shit that I had never done before. I had the audacity to think that I could do it. And then after that day, dude, I was like, all right, bro, we're done with it. I was like selling the vinyl plotter, bro. It was such a nightmare to do something like that. And I think that looking back, and even just talking to other printers, they so many times get themselves in a very similar position. We still do it sometimes. Like, we'll take on a CMYK job, and as soon as we started, I'm like, why did we do this?
Yeah. That is it's a bottleneck, man. And you see a lot of people trying to go over that bottleneck by offering DTG or something, but then that's a whole other beast. And I'm not into that either, personally. I know a lot of people say it's like the future of the industry, but I'm saying I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
I wonder if you're an old soul, dude. You're like an 80-year-old in a 30-year-old's body or something.
Possibly, dude.
I think I don't know. I don't really know where it's going to go. I think that the digital isn't the problem. I think it's the issue of the low the low volumes combined with like getting artwork and having to walk customers through a thing for like $30.
Exactly. It's not worth the time. If you try to scale a business that way, you'll just realize you're going to reach a peak and you're not going to be able to, you know, exceed that point.
Yeah, I think the only way you could even have a chance at pulling it off is exclusively through technology. Like, you can see like certain companies pulling it off, but you're going to have to do it through like crazy technology. It can't be like with a quote form and an art uploader. There has to be so much more, right? Like, you would want it for them to upload the art file. It has an automated sepping program that shoots it directly into the rip on the DTG, and all you have to do is load the shirt. If it's anything other than that, it is not going to be worth it, I don't think.
Yeah.
But maybe. I don't know. I would be interested. I'm not completely opposed to it, but we'll see. I don't know, dude. Screen printing's just cooler too.
That's right.
That's the real shit.
It's the OG, man. What do you?
Yeah. And I do think it's just, especially for spot stuff, like for blocky graphics, it does look as of right now. It just looks better.
Of course, yeah.
You know?
I just think it has a better feel, and it has it's tangible, a little bit more tangible than the other one. The other one seems just very digital. I don't know.
It does, yeah, it does. Even the feel of it is kind of got like this weird, and it's not a plastisol rubberiness. It's like this weird, slippery, almost sticky, rubbery thing. I don't know, dude. To each their own. If you got a DTG, good for you. I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah.
And then this is the last question, and then we're going to go into the kind of Q&A portion of this thing. So, guys, start submitting your questions now, and I'll go back up to the top and see if I missed anything. But let's get some good questions coming in here. A lot of you are just thinking about doing this, or you've recently done it. If you want to get some questions answered, now's the time to do it. Okay? So, last question for you, my friend, as far as from me. I think this one's really important, because I like to hear how other people that are in like the small business area overcome issues, whether they're stuck on something, how they get themselves out of it. Because I know for me personally, dude, I'll be cruising, but I'm kind of like a bipolar some bitch, and I get to a point and then I get stuck and I almost get depressed. So my question to you is, when you get to that point or when you're stuck, are there some things or some techniques that you utilize to pull yourself, get yourself out and get back to it?
Yeah, there definitely is, man. Throughout the whole screen printing experience of getting throughout the whole, getting the shop going, you're going to face these challenges multiple times. And the key is to never give up. Never give up.
Never give up. Never surrender. Buzz Lightyear.
But you got to be reasonable with yourself. You have to make the realizations. This is not for me. This is not something I want to do. Because it's a print life and it's hard, man.
Yeah. So, and I think an example was like for you when you decided to stop doing vinyl and stuff, right? Like it was one of those things where you put yourself in a depressing situation, so you had to figure out a way to stop getting frustrated or depressed by that thing.
Yeah, you know what? You just got to let it go. These things in life that put us down, you got to let them go. If it's going to bring you down, it's not going to be good for your business. It's going to take you out. If it's the wrong decision you make, you just have to be able to say, you know what, I made the wrong decision in investing in this, and I have to be willing to pay the consequence and get rid of it.
I love that, man. Yeah, it seems like you almost have more of an elimination kind of mentality. You're not trying to add to it. You're trying to kind of get out of here. You're just trying to straight line it as much as possible. That's cool, man. That's cool. All right, guys. Let's see what kind of questions we got for Juan today. I'm going to start at the top. I'm sure I'll miss some. If you asked a question earlier, go ahead and resubmit it now so that I can get to it. It's really hard to filter through all of this stuff. Okay. Young Mo Productions. Juan, do you guys do a lot of will calls to gain new clients? Will call? Do you do will call?
Will call, does that mean like have them come pick up their stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would assume, but I don't think that's what he means, right? How would you, actually, yeah. Do you use the opportunity of the will call to get new clients, maybe? Yeah.
Of course. I always, if it's feasible for the client, they can come over here and pick up their stuff. I think it's always a good look for me, and it's good for them to see my shop and to see that we're producing stuff. It adds value to the business, and they see that, and it's good for them to see it.
Yeah, dude, that's good advice. It's funny, dude, there you go. There's a mistake I'm learning right now. I do not take advantage of that, especially in just actually asking for new referrals or new business on the handoff. God dang.
That helps.
Hey, man,
that helps.
That's good. Thanks for asking that question, Young Mo. That was good, man. Zach Forrest is just wondering what you would recommend for a vellum or something like it to print his positives. He's currently trying to help his pops get something going out of the house. So what kind of media do you recommend if you're just getting started when it comes to making films?
Yeah, I know this question because you know what? It's DIY.
That's right, baby.
So you gotta go to Office Depot. You gotta get some cheap vellum, and then you gotta go somewhere that offers a print service. Sometimes Office Depot might do it, or you could go to Staples or something like that. Have them print you the transparency. Another option is just going to Staples. I know they make transparencies. Ask for 2 of them made, and then double them up and tape them. Make sure that they're taped up right, and then that'll work for a
little while.
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah.
And that's they're cheap, right? They don't charge very much for them.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you're not trying to invest a lot, and you got just a little project going. I think that's the best way.
And then I think another good option, if you have a little bit more, would be to there are services online that will take your art, print the film, and then send it to you. And sometimes in your local area, it depends. We have one here. There are like supply houses that will make films for you as well. So there are different options out there. But that's a good advice, especially for the DIY thing. I also did a whole video, guys, on some just random kind of DIY alternatives. Like you can even just get like glass if you want to and paint on it, and then use that as a film positive. There's a lot of really fun ways you can do this on like a DIY level. But anyway, cool. This guy says, feed is choppy as heck, can't pay attention. Dude, you could listen, right? What you recommend? Okay. Okay, so Zach's asking here too. He's having issues with clarity of image after burning on the UV table. Any tips for this issue? So he's got UV table, clarity of image.
If that is your issue, most likely is that your film is not perfectly flush with your screen. So you basically want to get a vacuum table, or a lot of times people put some weight on top, and you got to put some foam on. You got to put weight on top. Make sure it's evenly distributed. And once you have that, and the film is flush to the glass and the screen, it should be no problem.
Yeah, good advice. I completely agree. Better off a screen. So you guys this is Young Mo Productions. So you guys living in high heat and low humidity, is that better for the screen drying process?
Not really. It's not really great for screen printing, water base, and discharge, but we work with what we got, and
but it does help for the actual when you coat the screen and you're trying to get it dry as quick as possible. Yeah,
that helps actually. Yeah, that helps big time.
Dude, our humidity levels right now are like 8 to 10%. Do you guys get that low? We're low.
Yeah, mine are kind of low. I got this like little dark room that it does get gets pretty hot in there.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got something from Tyler. I don't know if this is a question. I'm gonna read it. Sometimes, bro, it's hard to distinguish if it's a question or a statement, so I'll read it and we just see where it ends up. How you doing on time? Are you okay?
I'm doing good.
Cool. You cool to hang out for a little bit longer?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Tyler has owned a screen printing setup that he does on the side for a year. He can't get the burn time correct. Any tips on just kind of figuring out what your exposure times are based on your unit?
That's going to be a real tricky one for Tyler. I would really suggest investing in an exposure unit. Once you invest in an exposure unit, you'll be able to do better experimenting with and achieve better results ultimately.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, man, because I remember when I was first starting the whole screen printing process, the entire learning curve was in the dark room, right? And you're trying to use like these halogen like shop lights and shit to try to get things exposed, and it can actually become a frustration. And the second that you just invest in a few pieces of equipment, in my personal opinion, if you can get a good film printer and an exposure unit, it's like half the battle is done at that point. I would get that stuff before I start buying really good presses or anything like that, because it'll make it a lot more pleasant for you.
Definitely.
What do we got here? Thank you, Young Mo, for subscribing. Make sure you ding the bell, dude. Ding the bell. And then after the show, guys, everybody pop in there and leave a nice comment and thank Juan for being here. And if you're just tuning in, watch the whole thing. Even if you can't watch it, let it play in the background. Just watch the whole thing. Rusty Lee, I go to local concerts and I ask bands if they need shirts printed. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but he gets to listen to new music. That was a statement. Okay, thank you for sharing, my friend. Young Mo, Rusty. Okay, yeah. Sometimes now there's a conversation going on in the thing. Still looking for stuff here, guys. Come on now. Okay, Roger Gold. I know that this can be kind of tough for you to actually answer, but what is the largest order you've printed manually?
Damn. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I've taken on some really crazy jobs at the time. I think the craziest one was maybe like, shoot, man. I don't know. Actually, I'm thinking about a lot of crazy ones.
Have you ever done like 2,000 or 5,000 pieces front and back multicolor kind of stuff?
Yeah,
manually.
Yeah, we've definitely done some where it's just like thousands and thousands of prints.
Yeah.
Even if it's on one location where it has like so many prints, it's just like, damn.
Yeah, we have too.
It's really hard to say. Every year there's like, we have our top ones, but I want to say,
recently I made a video about I did a whole vlog series on it because I was like, dude, I'm definitely documenting this because this shit is crazy. But yeah, it was like not a huge colors, like 4-color front, 4-color back, but I think it was like 5,000. I can't remember what it was, but dude, it took us all week to do it, and we were doing like all heads down printing too. It's a nightmare on long run stuff. You know, I think if you're a manual shop, you kind of focus in that like, maybe you can do 12, but like the 24 to 500 piece range, that's kind of like a sweet spot for you as a manual shop.
Exactly. I think so too. I was just having a conversation with another printer recently, and I was telling him I'd rather do 10 jobs that are 100 pieces each than to do one 1,000 piece job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
because by the end of it, you're looking at that graphic and you're like considering homicide. Everything about it just gets so old and miserable.
Exactly. It's a nightmare. And so, and not only that, the numbers are just way better when you get into that number 1,000 of the same piece. People want it for pennies, or people want it really cheap, where it's like, damn.
Yeah, it's not for me, dude. I know. And I was just talking to I just had him on the thing the other day, this Mark Coudray. He's like an OG in the industry. And like I brought up contract, and like, dude, I brought up contract and he instantly was like, no. He just slammed it, dude. And then I had him elaborate. He's all, dude, it's not the game. It's a nightmare.
It's not worth it, dude. It's not worth it. I've seen a lot of big shops collapse because of it.
Yeah. I think, but what do you think about maybe just having a few contracts to supplement? That's not the same thing as going full contract, right? Like you have a few jobs that have high volume, you do them a couple times a month, or you're not even into that really?
We have some big clients, and they order stuff throughout the whole year, and those are kind of like what I consider like my big time clients, but I have no contract with them. I just treat them really well, and it opens my opportunity for taking other businesses and making more money ultimately. And that's what we all want to do at the end of the day. We just want to make a little bit more money, because it's breaking our backs.
That's right, man. I love it. All right. This is, I guess, for me, but Yeah. Okay. So Cam, I purchased 2 of those 50-watt LED ultraviolet lights that you posted on your vlog. But I purchased 2. Is that overkill? And what distance should I have them at from the glass? Have you ever made any of your own stuff, or did you get some stuff early on? Did you buy equipment from the gate?
I personally invested in an exposure unit right away. I just knew that it was really valuable to my quality in screen printing. I identified those same problems that these guys are having, and I just invested. I saved my money and I invested. And sometimes that is the big battle in starting these small businesses. We have to invest a lot of our money into buying this crazy equipment, and it really never ends. So just,
I think for you, yeah, if you have the capabilities to build it correctly, it's worth a shot, right? Especially if you can do it for $100 as opposed to $5,000. If you can give it a shot and pull it off for cheap, absolutely. As far as but again, it comes down to that. Is it gonna do the job properly? With the LEDs, I don't see why 2 is overkill, but you need to have them because it's ultimately like sort of a point source kind of thing. So the interior needs to be white. It needs to be very reflective, and you need to have like 3 feet. You know, I mean, it needs to, I'm trying to think 3 feet from the glass to the light. You can't put it close, dude. You cannot do it. It's got to be far away. So I'm answering the question, but thank you for your thing on it. I feel like okay, here you go. So this is from Giovanni Estrella. Are there any emulsions for both plastisol and water-based ink that won't harm or damage the bathtub and drain? What do you think, dude? I mean, tread lightly, bro. I'm gonna say it for you. Not for your drain, dude. You can damage your apartment complex dumping that shit down the drain, bro.
Yeah.
So
don't do it.
Know.
I would say don't do it. It's not, and you're just asking for trouble. Don't dump it down the drain. Don't dump it down the toilet. Don't dump it down anything. It's gonna mess up your stuff. I would say put it in a bucket or something, and maybe like dig a hole somewhere or something.
I saw Sonny come by. It never crossed my mind, but he would take all of his screens to the car wash, and he would just dump. He would lean them up against the wall, and he would reclaim them right there in the car wash, dude. So that's an option for you, but that's probably better than doing it in your apartment, dude. They will. Goodbye deposit for sure. Goodbye deposit, because they're gonna figure it out when everybody's unit clogs. So I don't think so. Don't do it, dude. Patchfly on the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Did you have a question for me? Because super chats always get questions answered first. Yeah. Then Young Mo just says build a washout booth, use a 5-gallon bucket, you're good to go. That's kind of what you said too. Get a bucket.
Yep.
And I think that's it, man. People are kind of being a little lazy on the. I've noticed that lately. Our view times has been going down. Don't know why. I think it's because I haven't been as active on YouTube. But thank you guys for coming in and chilling with us for a little while, and thank you, Juan, for being here, dude. Before we go, share all your stuff. What you got going on? Where people can find you? All of your social media stuff.
Hey, sorry, dude. It was cutting out a little bit, but
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, share all of your contact, your website, your social media, all that stuff. Share. What you got going on?
Oh, okay. Right on. I can hear that. Okay, so, Squeegee Prints is my Instagram. It's also my Facebook. You can find us on our website, squeegeeprints.com, and reach out to us if you got any questions or concerns.
Right on, dude.
Keep on printing.
I love that. Hey, are you open to, especially if people are in the area, if he's like a garage printer, are you open to that kind of printing for, slightly smaller shops that just need help with a little bit higher volume than they can handle?
So sorry, Cam. I think the connection's breaking a little bit. I didn't really hear that last question.
I'll ask it. So are you open to printing for like garage printers? If they get a client that comes in that's a little more than they can handle, you'll take that work for them. Is that something you might consider?
Yeah, of course. We work with other printers all the time if they can't handle some giant job, it's like over 500 pieces, or it's just, maybe something they're not comfortable with doing. It's not worth it for them. They just want to kind of outsource it and make sure that, the product's going to be good. So they get it done here. It happens a lot, to be honest. More than ever this year, for sure.
Good. So if any of you guys listening or watching, if that's something you need, especially if you're in the SoCal area, definitely hit up Squeegee Prints. All right, dude, that's it. I'm gonna do my outro and shit, bro. I'll just hang on the line. I'm gonna talk to you here in a sec.
Right on, Cam.
Just hang out. Okay, Print fam. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, man. This was a good one. Where the fuck are all the viewers, man? What's going on, guys? Probably because I cuss too much. Make sure that you, as soon as this video ends, you bounce into the comments, not the chat, but the comments, and just say thanks to Juan for being here. Ask him any questions that you didn't get to ask in the thing. I'm sure he wouldn't mind popping in and answering those things. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel and this video. Check out the iTunes podcast. Check out the podcast on Google Play. Listen while you work. And again, go back to the video catalog from the beginning. If you ain't watched something, put it on, play it in the background, play these videos, get them going, man. I need that. I need you guys to help grow this channel. Other than that, check out Juan Squeegee Prints. You can find all that stuff there. I'll put all the links to his stuff in the description of this video. We will see you all. Well, I'll have another video uploaded on Friday for because I'm back to making videos again. That first one was, or this last one I did, it was, it was something else. I wouldn't call it good, but it was something. We will see you guys next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Take care. I have an outro somewhere here. Let me see if this is it. That's not it. Nope, I don't have an outro. Okay, bye guys. Let's see, dude.